Hello students, welcome you all to this session. So in the previous class we have discussed about a chapter called as control and coordination of part 1, and in part 1 we had completed 3 chapters of biology, that is life process, control and coordination, and the nervous system, that is control and coordination, and our environment. Now we have come to the part 2 of your science syllabus, that is in biology part there are 2 chapters, heredity and evolution, and how do organisms reproduce. Today we are going to start a new chapter, that is chapter number 9, called as heredity and evolution. So children, these 2 concepts may be completely new to you. Till now we have studied about physiological functions like life processes like digestion, respiration, circulation, excretion, nervous system. In that you have studied about hormones also, called as endocrine system. First today's class we are going to discuss about only heredity. What do you mean by the term heredity? Before going to the meaning of the term heredity, you know that in previous chapters we had seen that reproduction is the biological process where organisms give birth to young ones of their own kind is called reproduction, and reproduction is a very important character of living organisms. You know that. And reproduction is of 2 types, that is sexual and asexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is biparental, that is 2 parents are involved and there is transmission of characters from one generation to another generation. Listen carefully, there is transmission of characters from one generation to another generation. Next, in asexual reproduction is uniparental. There is no formation and fusion of gametes, where single parent is involved and it is giving rise to offsprings of its own kind. And you know, apart from asexual reproduction, there are some variations that we are going to study today, heredity and evolution. So these concepts of heredity, variation, they come under a topic called as genetics. First you should know this. Under a topic called as genetics. It is a huge branch of biology, genetics, where you study about heredity and excuse me, where you study about heredity and variation. It is the study of heredity and variation. Then again we will come to the meaning of heredity. What is the meaning of heredity? Heredity is the transmission of characters from one generation to another generation. Transmission or transfer of characters from generation to generation, you can say, from generation to generation. Heredity. Now what do you mean by the term variation? Variation means changes occurring during the transfer of characters. Variation means the changes occurring in the organisms during the transfer of characters or the trait. Here in genetics we use a term called as trait for characters. Trait means characters. Okay. So genetics is a branch of science which deals with the study of heredity and variation. Genetics is a huge branch of biology, you can say, and the father of genetics is Gregor John Mendel. He is the father of genetics. You should know that because in your higher classes in PUC you are going to study about this chapter again, genetics. So father of genetics is Gregor Johann Mendel. Mendel is the father of genetics. He conducted various experiments on pea plants that we will see a bit later. Now we will discuss about accumulation of variations during reproduction. Accumulation of variation during reproduction. So as I told you, as we are sexually reproducing organisms, or in sexually reproducing organisms, the organisms are not exactly similar to their parents as in case of asexual. In asexual, the offsprings produced are exactly similar to their parents. Exactly means like Xerox copy you can say. But in organisms which are reproducing sexually are showing number of variations from generation to generation. That is, even among children of same parents, we take a human beings example only. Are we exactly similar to our parents? No. We are getting some of the characters of our parents, but we are not exactly similar. So, accumulation of variation during reproduction. So, in first generation, we will find some variation. Okay. Again in second generation, again we will find variation. So, in every generation there is variation. So, how that is possible? How the transmitted characters are transmitted? Through DNA copying. DNA copying. The meaning of DNA. DNA is the genetic material, deoxyribose nucleic acid. It contains chromosomes which helps in transfer of characters from one generation to another generation. Now, all these changes may be due to according to the environment, you can say. According to environment, there are so many variations in our body because we are living in a kind of environment where we have to adapt ourselves. You have studied survival of the fittest comes under evolution, we will discuss it later. So, now what characters we are having, again we will transfer it to our next generation. But in their generation again they will have some variation because nowadays everyday climate is changing, our food habits are changing. So, depending on the climate or weather you can say there is changes in our characters. So, this is how there are so many variations even in asexual reproduction. So, accumulation of variation during reproduction is very, very essential. Now, what happens if bacteria divides? One bacteria gives rise to 2, 2 gives rise to 4. But in every bacteria there is some certain kind of variation you can see. That is due to environmental factors or weather conditions or some other factors. So, what advantage of sexual reproduction is you will find number of variations, but a disadvantage of asexual reproduction is this is the one point, that is there is no variation. All organisms produced are of same kind, similar kind only. Then coming to heredity, as I already told you, heredity is the transmission of characters from generation to generation is called as heredity. Now, inherited traits. What do you mean by inherited traits? Inherited means which we are inherited from our parents, which we got from our parents, maybe hair color, skin color, eye color. They are called as inherited traits. So, similarities. Human population shows, see if you want to see variations clearly, the human population is the very good example because humans are showing a large number of variations. So, even among children of same parents, we are not exactly similar to our parents. Exactly similar? No. That is because of the variations our body is showing in response to the characters or the genes present in our chromosome. So, this is how there are variations in sexually reproducing organisms, and there are large number of variations during reproduction. Now, we will see rules of inherited traits, that is Mendel's contributions. Mendel's contributions, as I told you already, Mendel is the father of genetics. He conducted various experiments on pea plant. Mendel is the father of genetics. He conducted experiments on pea plant. Pea plant. The scientific name of this plant is Pisum sativum. I'll underline it because it is a scientific name. If you have studied nomenclature, rules of nomenclature, it is one of the rule that scientific names, if they are handwritten, they should be separately underlined. Okay, that is secondary. So, why Mendel selected pea plant for his experiment? There are some reasons, yes or no? Why he selected pea plant? Because this plant is easy to grow, short lifespan. Most important thing is the contrasting characters which he observed in the plant. That is number of contrasting characters. He selected 7 contrasting characters. Shall I write now one by one? First is stem height. First we will see the 7 contrasting characters selected by Mendel. Okay. First we will write the characters, then we will write the alternatives. Right here. Right here. Characters, then comes alternatives. Number 1, stem height. So, what are the alternatives in the height? It may be either tall or dwarf. That is tall and dwarf. Dwarf means short. Second character, position of flower. In the plant, we are discussing about pea plant. Remember, we are discussing about the pea plant. Stem height. There are 2 alternatives in height, either tall or dwarf. Position of flower. In plant, where is the position of flower? That is axial and terminal. Next, coming to third character, that is color of flower. That is white and purple. 2 colors. Next comes shape of seed. Shape of the seed. That is round and wrinkled. Round and wrinkled. Next one, color of seed. What is the color of seed? Yellow and green. Yellow and green. Next one, shape of pod. That is inflated and constricted. Last 7th character, color of pod. I will tell you the meaning. What is the meaning of pod? Yellow and green. So these are 7 contrasting characters selected by Mendel. We see now which are those. First one, first to keep it in mind, this is the characteristics of pea plant, Pisum sativum. Number 1, stem height. What is the height of the stem? 2 alternatives, either tall or dwarf. Position of flower in the plant, axial, terminal. Color of flower, white, purple. Shape of seed, round, wrinkled. How it may be round and wrinkled? I will show you. This is round and this is somewhat wrinkled shape. Color of seed, yellow, green. Shape of pod. What do you mean by the pod? Pod means the outer one. The seeds are present. This is called as the pod. This outermost is called as the pod. The pea plant. Inflated and constricted. Color of pod, yellow and green. So these are 7 contrasting characters selected by Mendel. Now, by selecting these 7 characters, he performed 2 experiments, that is monohybrid and dihybrid experiments. Now we will see. In the first place, he selected 1 character. As the name indicates, monohybrid means the cross is involving only 1 character. I will write here. Mono means single, hybrid means the 2 different varieties, 2 different alternatives are taken and they are crossed. So what is we will get in the F1 generation that we are going to see now, that is called as monohybrid cross. Now we will see what is the cross here. So as I told you, monohybrid cross, that is cross involving only one character is called monohybrid cross. See carefully children, it's very simple concept but it's very important because again you are going to study this in your second PUC. So this is the basic for you, just you have to read it carefully. So first we are discussing about Mendel, right? Mendel is the father of genetics. He selected 7 contrasting characters. He selected pea plants for experiment. Already I told you the meaning of genetics. It is the study of heredity and variations. First he took 7 contrasting characters. 7 characters are there, alternatives are there. Then he conducted 2 experiments. Monohybrid cross. Mono means single, cross involving only one character is called monohybrid cross. Now we will see what are the traits he is going to take in his experiments. So I told you monohybrid is cross involving only one character. Now we will see what is that one character he selected for his experiment. We will take one example. So we have seen 7 contrasting characters. Let us take one character, that is stem height. That is called as one character is stem height. First one, there are 2 alternatives, tall and dwarf. So monohybrid cross, example stem height, we have 2 alternatives, tall and dwarf. So the genes for tall is capital T and dwarf is small t. Now we should know here in height, tall will be the dominant character and dwarf will be the recessive character. See again 2 new terms you are learning here, that is dominant and recessive. Dominant and recessive. What do you mean by the term dominant? Dominant means is greater one, you can say, which expresses its character, expresses itself is called as the dominant one, and the one which does not express is called as the recessive one. So here these are parents, you can see these are parents. TT, capital T for tall, small t for dwarf. Now we will take gametes here. We will take one capital T here and here one small t. Now if you cross these both, what we will get? We will get capital T and small t. So here all tall will write. This is called as F1 generation. This is first generation. F1 means first filial generation. Now just you see here there is one capital T and one small t, but still the plants produced will be all tall. This is the most important point because of the dominance of this character. Here comes a law, if you study on law here, called as law of dominance. Law of dominance means in spite of being a dwarf character, the dwarf one is not expressed, the tall one only is going to express. So this plant are all tall in the F1 generation. So what is the conclusion here is, for the plant to be tall, one capital T is enough. If in this generation on the genes, if there is one capital T, then the plants can be tall, plants will be tall. But for dwarf plant, if you want dwarf plant, then you require 2 small t. So children, this is very, very important. So one capital T is enough for the plant to be tall. So there one dominant character is there. It means that this plant is dominant only. All plants will be tall. In spite of this recessive gene, it is not going to express. For the plant to be short or dwarf, 2 small t's are required. So this is called as the law of dominance. This is the first generation. Now we will cross these plants in second generation. Now these are tall now. These are tall. Now we will cross self, that is self pollination, that is tall into tall. Tall into tall. Now what is the gametes here? Capital T, small t, capital T, small t. Here you will get one capital T and small t. Here also we will get one capital T, one small t. Now if we cross this T with this T, what you will get? Capital T, capital T. It means that plant is tall. Okay, next capital T with this small t. Again, the plant is tall. You already know the law of dominance. Number 3, small t, capital T. But you have to write capital T first. Again, plant is tall. Last one, small t means the plant is dwarf. So as I told you just now, for the plant to be short or dwarf, 2 small t's are required. Then the plant is short. Remaining all are tall only. Now, here you look at a ratio. How many talls are there? 3. 3:1. Now again here children see, again you are getting here 2 ratios you will get here. Phenotypic ratio and genotypic ratio. That is very important. Again 2 terms you will study here about phenotype and genotype. See, in this chapter so many new terms you are going to study. Phenotype means the external characters of an individual is called as phenotype. Once again, the external characters of an organism is called phenotype. Now, first we will see the phenotypic ratio. Phenotypic means externally how many plants are tall? 3. How many are short? 1. So this is the phenotypic ratio. Now, if we come to genotype, the genetic constitution of an organism is called genotype. Genetic constitution. Now, if we see the genes, 2 capital T, capital T. How many are there? 2 capital T? Only 1. So, this is 1. How many kind of genes are there? This is 2. And how many of this kind? Only 1. So, this is the genotypic ratio. So, you get 2 ratios here. Genotypic and phenotypic ratio. So, this is about the monohybrid cross. Now, there is one more example you are going to study is about a plant called as Mirabilis jalapa. So, what are the generations here? F1 and F2 generation. This is F1 generation and this is the F2 generation. First filial and second filial generation. Now, they are given one more example of a plant, that is Mirabilis jalapa, or you can say 4 o'clock plant. There are 2 alternatives in that plant, that is 2 flowers are there, red and white. Red and white, 2 flowers are crossed. RR for red and small r for white. This is dominant. Here you will get R, here you will get small r. If you cross both these 2, you will get pink flowers in the F1 generation. Now, what do you mean by this? By crossing red and white flowers, you are getting pink flowers in the F1 generation. It means that there is no dominant gene or its own gene for pink color. There are no pink flowers there. When do you get pink flowers? When you cross red and white. So, all flowers are pink. So, this is the example for incomplete dominance. This is one more concept you are going to study, that is called as incomplete dominance. Dominance means what? It is expressing itself, but here it is incomplete dominance. Incomplete means completely it is not dominant over the recessive. So, here the flowers are pink, not red. If it was dominant, then because of this character, the flower should be red, but it is not so. So, it is called as incomplete dominance. Now, if you cross this again in F2 generation, what we will get? We will see now. If you cross pink into pink, now we will cross pink into pink. That is called as self-pollination. Again, pink into pink. RR into RR. What are the gametes here? Capital R, small r. Again here, capital R, small r. Okay. You are understanding what I am telling? You just go through here. See, capital R with this R. What you will get? RR. That is, it is red. Capital R, small r. That is pink. Capital R, small r. Again you will get pink. Small r, small r. Small r, small r. Again you will get pink. So, what is the ratio? 1:3 or 3:1, you can say 1:3 or 3:1. Now, you may ask a question now. We have crossed pink into pink, right? Then all the flowers must be pink. Am I right? Then why there is appearance of this red flower in this F2 generation? Because there is no dominant gene for the red color, for the pink color, because of the concept of incomplete dominance. So there is appearance of again pink flowers in the F2 generation. So this is about incomplete dominance. Next, coming to, there is one more cross called as dihybrid cross selected by Mendel. So we had seen the inheritance of one cross, that is monohybrid cross. Then coming to incomplete dominance, that is by taking a plant called as 4 o'clock plant by crossing red and white flowers. Now we will see the second, one more example where you can see how the traits are or the characters are expressed in the F2 generation. Now we are taking two characters and crossing these. Now we will cross two characters, or we will take two characters, that is called as the dihybrid cross. So we are seeing monohybrid cross. Now, what is the ratio of monohybrid cross? 1:2, 2:1 and 3:1. Now, second one, we will go to dihybrid cross. Dihybrid cross means it is the cross involving two characters. Two characters. As in previous we had seen the example of monohybrid cross where the cross involved only one character. So, out of 7, 2 characters are being selected here. Number 1 is shape of seed and color of seed. Those two characters are shape of seed and color of seed. You know shape of seed, round and wrinkled. Color of seed, yellow and green. Now here, two characters are being selected by Mendel. Now we will see. Round yellow seeds are crossed with wrinkled green seeds. Round yellow seed is crossed with wrinkled green seed. Just see now. Be careful here. In height, we have taken only two alternatives, tall and dwarf. Here there are two characters. Round yellow seed, round shape, color. So, two characters are involved here, round yellow seed and wrinkled green seed. So, we will cross now. Round yellow, RRYY. Here, round yellow is dominant, wrinkled green is recessive. Just you can write down here. This is dominant and this is recessive. Round yellow, this is round yellow is crossed with wrinkled green. Wrinkled green. What are the gametes produced here? Capital R, capital Y. Here you will get small r, small y. Now, if you cross, you can take the gametes here. R, Y, small r, small y. If you cross capital R, small r. Capital R, small y. Small r, capital Y, small r, small y. So, these are the characteristics we will get. Capital R, small r, capital R, small y, capital Y, small r, small r, small y. So, this is round yellow. Okay, these are the gametes. Now, we will cross this. We will put a checkerboard now. This is the F2 generation. I will put a checkerboard here. Then you'll come to know the ratio of the dihybrid cross. Shall I rub this? I'll rub this now, and we'll see the second generation by putting a checker board, you can say, or the Punnett square. If you put the Punnett square, you will come to know the exact position of the gametes and how many individuals are produced by crossing those generations. Okay. First one, capital R, capital Y, capital R, small y, small r, capital Y, small r, small y. Okay, I'll let it a little bit down so that there is some space at the top. Capital R, capital Y, capital R, small y, small r, capital Y, small r, small y. Okay. Remaining 4. Same you have to write in this side also. Capital R, capital Y, capital R, small y, small r, capital Y, small r, small y. See children, while writing y you should be careful, otherwise you will get confused. Okay, I will cross these two. We will put the columns here, then it will be easy for you for distinguishing. This is the Punnett square or the checker board, you can say. Yes. Now we will cross RR YY into RR YY. RR YY. These two. This with this now. Capital R, capital R, capital Y, small y. Next this with this third one. Capital R, small r, capital Y, capital Y. Last one. Capital R, small r, capital Y, small y. With the second now. Capital R, capital R, capital Y, small y. Capital R, small y, small y. Next similarly. Capital R, small r, capital Y, small y. Capital R, small r, small y, small y. Next, capital R, small r, capital Y, capital Y, capital R, small r, capital Y, small y, small r, capital Y, small r, capital Y, small y. Last one, capital R, small r, capital Y, small y, capital R, small r, small y, small y, small r, capital Y, small y. Last, all are recessive. Now, this is similar, very easy. Just this and this we have together we have written. But wherever there is dominant character, you write the capital letter first, and recessive you write at the last. Okay. Now, how will you name these now? Just I will write here. If there is one capital R and one capital Y, then this it will be called as round yellow. The seed will be round yellow. If there is one capital R, small y, then it will be considered as round green. Small r, capital Y, wrinkled yellow. Small r, small y, wrinkled green. Now we will name here. One capital R is there, one capital Y is there. Then this seed will be round yellow. Similarly, this is also round yellow. 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 This is no. This is again round yellow. This is round yellow. Okay. Now we'll count how many round yellow are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. How many round yellow are there? I will write here the ratio 9. Capital R, small y, round green. Capital R, small y, this is round green. Capital R, small y, round green. Capital R, small y, this is round green. Here no. How many? 3. Next, wrinkled yellow. Wrinkled yellow. Small r, capital Y. Small r, capital Y. Wrinkled yellow. Wrinkled yellow. Wrinkled yellow. Okay. How many? 3. Last one. Wrinkled green. Small r, small y. Only 1. Wrinkled green. So 1. Total how many? You count. 9:3:3:1. This is the ratio. 9:3:3:1. Now, if you count this, you will get 16. So, 4 into 4. These are 16 individuals in the ratio of 9:3:3:1. So, this is the ratio of dihybrid cross. Dihybrid means the cross involving how many characters? 2 characters. One is shape of seed and color of seed. Shape seed, ಎರಡು ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ತೊಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ರೌಂಡ್ is the shape, color is the another character of the seed, wrinkled green. So, if you cross this and put a Punnett square, you get the ratio of 9:3:3:1. That is total 16 individual. So, this is about the dihybrid cross that was done by Mendel. Okay. So, what do we come from this? Understand by this process that the characters are being transferred from one generation to another generation. Okay, so how is DNA copying is there? So each organism is copying its DNA, transferring it to the next generation. Now we'll go to another topic called as sex determination. This is a very important topic. So now we'll consider human beings. In human beings, how the sex is being determined. Or any human being you can take, or any human being or any animal also you can study, but in your syllabus you are studying about humans only. Sex determination in humans. Okay. First, what do you mean by sex determination? Determination is determining whether an organism is male or female. Here, there are two alternatives, that is one male and female. So, in humans or any organism, there are two alternatives, that is male and female. And you know, in humans we have 23 pairs of chromosomes, right? 23 pairs or 46 chromosomes are there, out of which 22 are called autosomes. 22 are autosomes and one pair is, or okay, 22 pairs you can write it. 22 pairs are autosomes, one pair is allosomes or the sex chromosomes. Autosomes are similar in both males and females. 44 chromosomes are both similar in males and females, but last one pair is differing. That is a pair of X in female and XY in male. Once again, there are 23 pairs of chromosomes in human beings. 22 pairs are autosomes. Now, what is the meaning of autosomes? Autosomes are responsible for our somatic characters and allosomes are expressing our reproductive characters. The other body characters are expressed by 44 chromosomes. Now, we will cross now. That is male or father and mother you can cross. Male, that is XY, and female or mother you can, that is XX. So, female is having only a pair of X chromosomes. Or you get mother and father also. What are alternatives there? X, Y. Here what is the alternative? Only X. If you cross X into X, what will you get? Sorry, XY. Then okay. So this resulting child will be daughter and this resulting child will be a son. Now what do you conclude by this cross or the chart? Now that is, sex of the child is always depending on the father, not on the mother, because here there is having two alternatives. If the eggs of the sperm fuse with the eggs of the female, then the resulting child will be female. If the Y chromosome fuse with the X chromosome, then the resulting child will be a male, because here there are no alternatives in female. Here the two alternatives are there, whether it is fusing with the X of the female chromosome or Y with that male chromosome. So the sex of the child is always determined by father, depends on the father, not on the mother. But still our society is blaming females for giving birth to female child. It is not so. So sex of the child is always determined or depending on the father, not on the mother, because here there is heterozygous condition. This is heterozygous condition. This is called as homozygous condition. Now what do you mean heterozygous? Hetero means different. There are two alternatives are there. The paired genes are dissimilar. There in female, paired genes are similar. So it is called homozygous and heterozygous condition. So the sex of the child always depends on father and not on the mother. So this is about the sex determination. So here we completed about heredity. Next session we will go about evolution. So today's class we have discussed about the meaning of heredity, about traits, about accumulation of variations in the reproduction, about crosses, Mendel's crosses, monohybrid, dihybrid crosses, some new terms we have learnt like genotype, phenotype, ratios we have seen, dominant, recessive, and the sex determination. So in the next class we will discuss about the evolution. Thank you.